Alright, Reverend Colonel here today, and today we are going to build a wine rack. That's right, a wine rack. Alright, first thing you want to do is you want to get you some material and you want to cut 4 pieces for your bottom, sides, and top because we're going to make a box. And I am using this 3/4 inch melamine board because this is a paint grade job. It's going to slip into a cabinet hole and you will see how that works. You always want to pre-drill anytime you're going to be screwing, trim and stuff like that. And what I like to do is I like to make me a line there. That's the thickness of my wood I'm going to be screwing into, so that way I know exactly where to put my drill holes so I can line them up between here and this line here. We're going to be using this drill bit. We're using this funny looking head on there because we're using these little trim screws that look like this. And that's it. Alright, once you got all your holes drilled, you can screw one side together. And before you screw it, you want to put a thin line of glue there. And I always use Tite Bond. That's what most of your cabinet makers use. Industrial standard professional strength. This one's for interior use. They do make them for exterior also. But this is the glue that I like to use. Alright, now after you got your 2 sides on there and you're going to put this side on, before you put it on, you want to put a brace on here holding it at square. So that way that is square before you put the final pieces together. And now we've got all that. And that'll be our front side. And now we just had to cut the back of the box. Alright, so after the glue's set and everything, I took the brace off and we'll check it for square. And look at there, perfectly square. That is a good sign. So now we're gonna put the box up and figure out our rows for the wine rack. Okay, so for the back side of the wine rack, you can see I have spaced out 3 equally spaced. I use this can of Neverdull. I love that stuff. Great for polishing your chrome. But anyway, I use that for my template, and I space these evenly because that Neverdull is exactly 3.5 inches, and your average wine bottle will fit in 3.5 inches or less. So that's what we're going for. And then you just do half the distance here, and then find your centers. I started with the center one here, and then I found the center between this point here and this point over here, and that's how I got these centers on the sides. And so now we're going to cut these with the jigsaw. We're going to use a very thin blade. It's a scroll blade, and this one is made by Diablo. Don't know if you can see that on there, but maybe now. Get the right light. Oh, we're so out of focus. There we go, Diablo. Anyway, I've been a real fan of their stuff. I've gotten a lot of blades. They've done better and lasted longer than a lot of the other name brands, and they're cheaper. So Diablo, go for it. They got products at both Home Depot and also at Harbor Freight. Alright, so we got the first 3 cut out. We'll use that as a template for the others. Before I cut those, for my neck side, I made marks for the end of the board, and then I transferred the marks, the center marks of the bottles, to this one. So when I cut out for the necks, they will be lined up the same as the other ones are. Alright, cutting the necks, getting bold now, cutting 2 at a time. Worked out pretty good. Did the same thing with the bottoms. And those are 3.5, and these right here are about 1 3/8 for the neck. I got the bottom one nailed in. Nailed it in on both sides with my pin nailer. Banks pin nailer. Works really good. Got 1-inch nails going through it. Got that at Harbor Freight. It was a really good buy. Really good buy. Major time saver. And I'm getting ready to nail the top one. And after I've got the top 2 in, then I will split the difference to get my center one. Alright, got all the racks in. And now just got to trim out top, bottom, and sides. And then it's ready to install inside the cabinet. Alright, and there we go. There's our wine rack. It'll hold 9 bottles. And it'll fit right underneath in the little spot they had in their cabinet where they used to have a wine chiller, and they didn't want to go through the expense of a wine chiller, so they're trying to get the house ready to sell. But this will work for them. This is what they wanted, and this is what they'll get. Looks Fandango to me. So here's our space and the moment of truth. All the measurements pay off. Slip right in like a glove. Now I just got to screw it on the sides here, and everything will be secure. Wine cabinet. Wine rack installed. Ready for paint. That's Fandango. Alright, so that's it for the wine rack. Got it all installed. Customers really happy with it. They painted the final coat of paint on it. I saw a picture of it, and it looks just like the rest of the cabinetry there. So it's not too difficult a project to do, you know. If you're fairly handy with wood and stuff, you've got a jigsaw, a table saw, and a cut-off saw, then you should be able to build something like that without too much trouble. The whole time I was building this thing, you know, I don't really drink a lot of wine, but it made me think of Jesus and his first miracle, when Jesus turned the water into wine. You know, he was invited to the wedding, him and his disciples and his mother, and they were there, and the wine ran out. Jesus' mother got wind of that, and she was like, you know, my son can fix this. You know, and so she believed in him, and you know, it's really helpful when the main woman in your life, if you're a guy, believes in you and believes in your talents and your capabilities, and it's really important. It really makes a big difference in a man's life when he has somebody like that supportive in his life. And for Jesus, you know, he wasn't married, he didn't have a girlfriend. So his mom was the main person in his life, and she believed in him. She believed he could do this. Now Jesus, he didn't want to do it, and he told his mother, no, my time hasn't come. I'm not going to do this right now. But he went ahead and did it anyway. His mother said to the servants, do whatever he says. And so, you know, maybe he was on the spot. You know, I don't know. Maybe he just decided, yeah, this is the time to start my ministry, perfect time to do it. Whatever the reason was, he did. And it was the first miracle that's recorded that we know of. And probably is the first miracle that was done, you know. And it was servants that witnessed it. Jesus' first miracle was witnessed by servants, not the high officials or even the bridegroom. Even better wine than what they started with. And so, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, I mean, Jesus' other miracles were done mostly in public with lots of witnesses, lots of people around, sometimes even in public places. But the very first miracle was much more intimate than that. It was aimed at the common people, servants no less. You know, so, you know, Jesus came for us all. He even came for the lowliest of the low. He didn't come here for those who were privileged. He didn't come here for those who proclaim themselves to be righteous. Although, I mean, he did come for all them, but that he didn't come to, point them out as, hey, you guys got it going on. You're doing the right thing, because 9 times out of 10, those who are privileged or righteous like that probably are not doing things the right way. But a lot of y'all are out there. There's some of y'all that are privileged that are out there, but none of us are righteous except through Christ. And so, I just want everybody to know, it doesn't matter what's happening in your life, where you're at, where you come from, or what's in your past, or even in your present. Jesus came for you and me. He came for us all. And so just remember that, Jesus came for everyone. And he had the everyday people mostly in mind. So keep your souls clean and your boots dirty. This is the way. Reverend Colonel signing out.